In a world overrun with the fake, delusional, and disingenuous, he stands as a beacon of truth. He is Abuki Cabal. You are listening to Abuki Cabal.
Welcome to the Abuki Cabal Show.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank all you guys, as always, in the beginning, for the likes and the shares and the support for the channel. If you could take a moment to hit the like button, and let's try to make those consistent with the number of views. That would help me out tremendously. Today, in lieu of recent events, I wanted to look at black male suicide. It is a problem, and it's not talked about very often unless something comes up that makes it pertinent. And that's usually when a person takes their life or ends up taking the life of someone else. But these rates are rising, whether whether we're aware of them or not. They are rising. They are a problem, and I think they are associated with the tremendous amount of stress that Black people in general encounter in their day-to-day lives, trying to navigate work, having children, dealing with relationships, things that shouldn't be as difficult as they are, sometimes are tremendously difficult, not to mention people who are coming back from the military and trying to pick their lives back up after going through horrific situations and not having the coping skills to be able to deal with the pain and confusion that it causes. So found a couple of different articles to go through. Scientific American, this other one here, suicide attempts are rising among young Black men. Experts say they face a perfect storm of hardships. And the other one, the suicide rates rise in a generation of Black youth. And that's the Scientific American one. Okay. So let's take a look at those. Ooh, wrong page. Sorry. Okay. Okay, I don't want to do that one first. Let's do this one. Nope, not that one. Okay, maybe I will do this one. All right, this one is the Scientific American article, and it talks about the suicide rates rising in a generation of youth. And it says multiple causes underlie a disturbing trend. The increase for girls is more than double that of boys. Okay, this isn't really along the lines of the one that I want to cover, but let's go through this one nonetheless. Okay, suicide is a devastating problem among Black youth, and researchers and mental health professionals are desperate to understand why and how best to address it. Okay, a 2018 study, for instance, that found that black children between the ages of 5 and 12 are about twice as likely to die by suicide as white children of the same age. The urgency to deal with the issue has only grown more acute. A new study found that suicide rates among black children and adolescents have recently been worsening. Between 2003 to 2017, suicides rose in this group, especially among black girls, whose rate increase was more than twice as high as that of boys. In the new paper published on September the 8th in the Journal of American Academy of Children and Adolescent Psychiatry, researchers extracted information from the CDC database about 1,810 black people aged 5 to 17 who had died by suicide between 2003 and 2017. They found that suicides rose over time during that period among black youth of all ages, and that the biggest increase occurred among teens aged 15 to 17. More than 2.5 times as many black boys died by suicide as black girls. But the annual increase among girls is 6.6%, was more than twice what it was for boys. The findings are deeply concerning, says Neal Goodwill, a psychologist and social worker at the University of Chicago Crown Family School of Social Work Policy and Practice, who was not involved in the research. They also challenge the long-held assumption that suicide rates among young white individuals are higher than those among young black people. The September 8th paper only analyzed data through 2017, so it lacks figures for the COVID-19 pandemic. A CDC study published in August 2020 reported that in late June of that year, more than 1/4 of young adults had contemplated suicide within the past 30 days. Suicides among black youth may have increased for a variety of reasons. For one thing, adverse childhood experiences are extremely high in this group, says Michael A. Lindsay, a co-author of the new study and executive director of the McSilver Institute for Poverty Policy and Research at New York University. And such experiences could be increasing. Black youth may also be experiencing more racial discrimination, which has been linked to an increase in risk of suicide. And they may be traumatized by headlines about the deaths of Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, and other young black individuals. Psychological barriers to accessing mental health care may provide another explanation for these findings. There's a lot of stigma related to the mental health treatment that seems to persist in black communities and families, Lindsay says, including to the propensity to want to share concerns related to one's emotional and psychological well-being with family members only and not to share it with professionals. It is unclear why rates of suicide are increasing most among black girls, but Lindsay notes that the discrimination and sexual violence they experience may increase the risk that they will take their own lives, according to the CDC. 1 in 8 high school girls of all races experience sexual dating violence compared to 1 in 26 high school boys. But most black boys do not report sexual violence, so that is a factor that they are not addressing here. I have to say that. Black teen girls also appear to be at higher risk for sexual violence than girls of other races, and such violence is known to be a suicide risk factor. Other research has pointed to the compounding effects of sexism and racism on black girls, although Black girls and how together they might increase the group's risk of depression and anxiety compared to with that of Black boys. Okay. Black girls also follow different trajectories when contemplating suicide than Black boys do. According to another new study published in September in Preventative Science, based on results from the nationally representative surveys, researchers found that high schoolers who attempted suicide impulsively without prior suicidal ideation were disproportionately Black and male and less likely to report feelings of sadness and hopelessness. Female high schoolers, on the other hand, were more apt to feel sad and hopeless and go through mental planning steps before their attempt. According to McGann Romanelli, a licensed clinical social worker at the University of Washington School of Social Work and co-author of the Prevention Science paper, Black boys who attempted suicide may be less likely than others to suffer from the feelings of sadness and hopelessness that characterize depression and might fit the criteria for other diagnoses such as post-traumatic stress disorder. If so, it's likely that these youth are experiencing symptoms or warning signs that we aren't recognizing or picking up on, she says. They may also be less likely to tell others that they are struggling. Another condition linked to suicide in Black youth is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD. The Journal of American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry study 5 to 11-year-old Black children and children with a diagnosis of ADHD were at a heightened risk of suicide. ADHD itself might not increase the suicide risk, Lindsay says, but rather symptoms of ADHD and depression, which can include irritability and interpersonal problems, can overlap and make it harder for professionals to recognize that kids with the disorder are also depressed. The underlying reasons for why they're irritable or angry might be missed, he notes. The new studies have important implications for suicide prevention in Black communities. Teachers, parents, and mental health professionals who engage regularly with Black youth need to be educated as to nuanced, subtle behaviors that actually might be indicating that a child is at risk, Lindsay says. They need to learn that at-risk youth may express irritability rather than sadness as a warning sign. Physical symptoms could be important too. Lindsay's research has shown that depressed Black youth who live in low-income housing sometimes complain of physical pain. Interventions that aim to reduce the stigma associated with mental health treatment in Black communities are now becoming available. Lindsay and his colleagues developed a program called the Making Connections Intervention to provide depressed young people with mental health care and reduce the stigma associated with receiving it. Another goal of such intervention should be to convey the message to Black children and teenagers that they are valued members of society. Right now, there is a lack of compassion and care for young Black lives, Goodwill says, which may be fueling feelings of worthlessness. We must counteract this pernicious message, she says, so that young Black people in America understand that their lives are full of meaning and purpose. Okay. We not only see this in kids, but I started with the kids for this purpose. I mean, it's the suicidal ideations and feelings start at a young age in both Black boys and Black girls. And I tend to believe that Black girls tend to see themselves as not measuring up to beauty standards and to body standards, so they tend to be more harsh on themselves than they need to be. in the past, there wasn't so much focus on children having information, like looking at these things like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all those things. All these things are influencing these kids at a young age, and they are judging themselves on sometimes adult standards. And my parents used to say, you gotta allow kids to be kids. And I think in this world, it's a lot more difficult for kids to be kids, and that's unfortunate. So I pulled up some more information here. We'll go to a mental and behavioral health study here from the United States Department of Health and Human Services Office of Minority Health. Okay. And it basically goes through and it itemizes information dealing with, and it's a 2019 study of suicides, 2019 and 2018. And I will attach that to the descriptions. Attach this link. And there's another one that has a Journal of American Medical Association, trends in suicide rates by race and ethnicity. And I will attach this study as well for you guys to look at. And it deals with adults and not so much children. But as you can see, it's affecting our communities across the board, and this is a problem that needs to be addressed, and I know this guy who, this nurse, black male nurse who basically killed himself and killed his ex-wife and and his ex-wife and his ex-girlfriend. One was supposedly pregnant with his child. The other one he had a child with. Supposedly there were some false allegations over the years with regard to his wife, saying that he was abusive or abusing his child. And things like that. There was then she would go back and she would either not report or either would deny the reports. But it was some back and forth going on with that. The man was obviously under a tremendous amount of stress, and whether we no one's trying to say that it was to condone his behavior and what the choice that he made. But this man thought that his only option was to basically to kill two people who he said in his confession before he killed himself and his ex-wife, that he basically was going to take out the person who caused him the most pain. I just wish he would have had someone to reach out to, someone to talk to give him another option other than doing what he did. So there are children left in the world without parents, and people have to stop playing with people, stop playing with these men and the children that they bring into the world. We just need to do better. We really, really need to do better. It's a sensitive subject. Again, no one is condoning his choice. People say that there's no reason that he should have done this. And very rarely do rational people able to see the reasons that these people have for doing what they did as a reason, you know. But people don't kill people for no reason, you know. People who are suffering from depression, who are suffering from anxiety and post-traumatic stress disorder, mental illness, most of the time these people don't even know that they're sick. You know, by the time it gets to that point, things are really, really bad. And before you pass judgment on this individual, go back and look at what he went through, what these other individuals, his life was like with these individuals, what their life was like with him, and then we need to be like investigators. One, we have to be open-minded and basically look at the entire story and try to come to some conclusion that will make us able to prevent this from happening in the future. And with that, I thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. Take a look at the data, and let's give these people the care that they need, and encourage the healthcare system and mental health system to address the problems that Black people carry. Some of this stuff is generational, and it needs to be addressed. Thank you guys for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe, and good night.
You are listening to Abuki Cabal, the analytical savage.
I feel like a